Hey, what's up, everyone? This is the KMN 1971 back with my monthly comic book haul. I have a little over 60 books to show this month, so let's commence with the crack-a-lackin'. Starting off with Harleen, #1. Haven't actually got a chance to read this yet, but I've heard great things about it. And man, this cover is killer. I have to say, I really like the majority of this material that's coming out of the Black Label imprint as of right now. Justice League #31, continuing on with the Year of the Villain, which, as I said last month, there is some corniness to go along with this overall concept in general, but there's so many cool concepts and elements of the DC universe sprinkled into the storyline and the guest stars. I mean, the JSA and Commandy. That's pretty cool, man. So #31, #32. Superman #15, which I'm starting to feel a little Bendis out on this title. Bendis has been the master of the build-up, but as far as the payoff goes, I mean, the payoff is just not there more times than not. Unfortunately, that's just my opinion. But I'll stick on with this title for at least another story arc, see how it goes. Supergirl #33. I picked this up because of allegedly the Legion of Superheroes tie-in, and all this did show was pretty much the same thing that you see in the Superman title, only from a slightly different perspective. Cool cover, though. Legion of Superheroes Millennium #1. A light, entertaining read, but definitely lacking the Legion. Really cool cover once again. Doomsday Clock #11. Out of 12. We're almost there. Allegedly in December. It'll come out. And who knows if it's in continuity or not at this point, but overall, just a great story. Can't wait to see how it ends up. Batman #78. Whoops. Failure. And #79. City of Bane. Storyline that I'm really enjoying right now. Seems like it's really going to kick into gear next month. The Green Lantern #11. And a cover grab. I've been trying to stay away from these cover grabs, but I really happen to love this Lobo cover. This might be my favorite Lobo cover of all time. Really cool stuff. All right, let's get into some Marvel and indie stuff. So, of course, my current favorite read going on right now, the House of X and Powers of 10 storyline. Hickman is just rocking this, and talk about a fan base that was starved for some quality. Whew, we're finally getting it, people. So, House of X #4. Powers of X #4. Really nice Greg Land, which you won't hear me say very often, but beautiful Greg Land road cover. Love that cover. House of X #5. And Powers of 10 number 5. I don't know if I called that Powers of X or Powers of 10 last time around, but whatever. Another storyline that's pretty much rocking it right now, Absolute Carnage #3. And Venom #18. Really enjoying this. Guardians of the Galaxy #9, which I just found out will be getting canceled and rebooted with after issue #12. And Donny Cates will no longer be on the title. He'll be moving on to Thor, and I'll be using that as a jumping off point. I thought Donny Cates was really building to something, but all we're really getting are basically like 2 story arcs. So while it is entertaining, that is kind of disappointing. So, oh well. Immortal Hulk #23, title that never disappoints. Conan the Barbarian #9, which this whole Death of Conan storyline is really being dragged out at this point. I mean, as far as that main storyline goes, you only get maybe like a page or 2 if you're lucky per issue. So I think that's kind of hurting this title. But with that said, still a pretty big fan. Star Wars #71, another title coming to an end with issue #75. I'm going to have a pretty short pull list by the end of the year. Another favorite of mine, Die #7. Incredible creative team, original story, and just a beautiful book. And finally, Spawn #300. I know this cover homage has been homaged many times before and in Spawn itself, but I don't own any of those issues. So I was getting all the Amazing Spider-Man homage covers leading up to this, so I figured why not pick this one up. So really cool. I haven't read it as of yet, but flipping through it just seems like one of those old, almost like an old style Marvel anniversary issue where they implement like all the villains and have the hero go against them throughout the storyline. So it seems like a very old school anniversary issue, which is pretty cool. So moving on from that, and in honor of the Toddfather reaching that 300 milestone, here's a run of covers that I've been putting together for the last couple of months. So I own the complete. Well, first of all, Todd McFarlane is my all-time favorite Spider-Man artist. I own his entire run on Amazing Spider-Man as well as his solo Spider-Man title that he was on for about 14, 15 issues, I believe. But I knew that he had a run of Marvel Tales covers, so which I saw in the Mercenant video probably about 3, 4, 5 years ago. I'm not even sure. So I've always been on the lookout for those. So I ended up finding one in a dollar bin maybe a couple of years ago, but I ended up coming across another stash of these at one of my comic book shops, and they were all high grade and maybe $3 a piece. So I just bit the bullet and I bought them all. So here we go. Marvel Tales, number 223. And if you like Todd McFarlane, you're really going to like the next like 14 or 15 books. 224. 225. 226, 227, 228, 229, 230, 231, 232, 233. That's the one that I picked up out of the dollar bins a couple of years ago, but I figured I'd throw it in just so I could show off the complete run. 234. I guess he was working with a tough deadline for that cover. 235, and this is the cover that initially got me to hunt down this run. I believe Mercenant, this is the cover that he ended up showing off probably about 5 years ago, and I was like, oh wow, Todd McFarlane Spider-Man and the X-Men, I need to get that. So 235 and 236, my two favorites out of the entire run. And lastly, number 237. And just to top it off with a little bit more Todd McFarlane goodness, Marvel Age number 90. And I ended up getting my second copy, and this one is a newsstand of Conan the Barbarian, number 241. So, really cool stuff. Congrats to the Toddfather on reaching that major milestone. No small feat, especially when most books are getting rebooted every other year. So, cool stuff. Okay, moving along. Another Red Sonja cover off the list. Red Sonja number 1. Killer heavy metal-esque Alex Ross cover. I haven't seen this book bounce around through the YouTube community, so I definitely wanted to pick this up. Iron Man number 284, and this is the first time that James Rhodes ends up becoming War Machine, even though he's not called War Machine, but first time that he actually dons the armor. So I thought that was pretty important. Dazzler number 33. Shout out to Beauty Comics for showing this off in one of his last haul vids. I would have never known about this. I'm like an 80s homage to Michael Jackson's Thriller video, which I'm a rock and roll fan at my core, but I still will proclaim that Michael Jackson's Thriller video is the greatest music video of all time. There's nothing even close. So, and plus Bill Sienkiewicz, the 80s, that's really cool. So, thanks to Beauty Comics once again for showing that off. In a perfect world, Michael Buffer would do the introduction of Beauty Comics for all of his haul vids. Just saying. Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is the Marvel movie Spotlight Special, which basically has all 3 issues of the miniseries. So basically the entire adaptation of the movie in one issue. So I thought that was pretty cool. Squadron Supreme number 1, another book that I couldn't believe that was not in my collection. I've heard many good things about it. So wanted to have the first Squadron Supreme solo issue. Fantastic Four, number 252. I'm always nipping away at that John Byrne Fantastic Four run. This was his Sideways issue, and unfortunately, no tattoos on the inside, which I believe they're supposed to be. Yeah, it even says it on the cover. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, ramble over. Fantastic Four, number 257, and a great cover by John Byrne, even though it has those floating heads kind of ruining it. But this is one of my cheap spec books. As we know in the Captain Marvel movies, the Skrulls were looking for a new homeworld because their homeworld was destroyed. Well, when was their homeworld destroyed in the comics? In this issue right here by Galactus, no doubt. So, why the heck not? And it fills in a run in my John Byrne Fantastic Four run. I like to pick up trendy books too on the cheap, so Spider-Girl number 59, which is the first out-of-continuity appearance of Ben Parker. I'm not even sure why that's a thing right now, but I saw it pop up on, what was it? Coverprice.com, I believe. I think it was their top-selling issue, so I was like, why the heck not? I picked it up for, and I want to say this is VF Plus for maybe like $5. A book I would have never paid $5 for before, but a nice addition to the collection. Anytime that there's anything like Batman or Spider-Man or X-Men related that's hot, I try to snatch it up. New Teen Titans, number 1 from Volume 2. I've really been loving the Titan series, even though I haven't been checking out Season 2 as of yet, but it kind of reinvigorated me. And even though I own the complete George Perez Marv Wolfman run, I've been picking up doubles of key issues and upgrading when I can. So this is pretty much a near-mint, bone-white copy of the New Teen Titans, number 1. Only goes for maybe like $10 to $15 online, but wanted it in the collection. I just wanted a high. My copy is very red and loved. So really happy to add this into the collection. This is like my third copy and probably final copy of Thor 339. I also like to plug away at the Walt Simonson Thor run when I can, especially on the cheap. Mighty Thor number 365, which is the first time I believe Thor is turned into a frog. And this is where he officially becomes a Throg. So I can just see this maybe popping up on Disney Plus's What If series, or even maybe in the Loki series. Who knows? But either way, nice little fillers for the Walt Simonson run. And all those books, as usual, are between my $1 and $5 range. Ended off with a nice little run of bronze. So we have Captain America number 255, which is an anniversary issue done by John Byrne. Can't resist a good old-fashioned anniversary issue. Very first page, the splash page, you have Captain America punching Hitler in the face. Can't get much better than that. Incredible Hulk number 166. I haven't rebagged this one as of yet, but this is the first appearance of the Hulk villain Zax. I want to say I saw this in maybe a Comic Fu video a couple, maybe several months ago. The Incredible Hulk number 172, a book that was not necessarily on my list or that I knew about, but when I was flipping through and I see the Hulk and the Juggernaut on the cover, and it was from the Bronze Age, had to have it. Amazing Spider-Man number 107, which, you know, just classic Bronze Age Spider-Man. Alright, I've wanted to complete this story for the longest time. So, I owned a couple of issues of the Kree Skrull War, but one of my goals for this year was to finally polish this storyline off. So, many consider this to be a top 5 Avengers story arc. So, and one of those story arcs that was ahead of its time. So, Avengers number 90, number 91, and I want to say it kicked off in Avengers number 89, which I do have, and it ended in Avengers number 97. There's issue number 94, cover and interiors by Neil Adams, as well as issue number 95, also cover and interiors by Neil Adams. And the last issue of the run, number 97. Really happy to finally add that into the PC. Alright, time for something controversial. I hope no one gets triggered over this. Remember, it's just comics. So, we have Heavy Metal, number 3 from, I believe, Volume 3. And what the controversy is with this, well, let me just say I like to buy comics with the context of whether it's historical preference in our pop culture, our actual history, or just comic book history in general. And this one kind of bleeds into our actual history. This features a story that features Donald Trump and basically him erecting a wall in the middle of New York City, I believe. It's a satirical story about, I don't know, income inequality, I guess. And yeah, so I guess this book has got a little bit more notoriety over the years because of that. And yeah, so I don't want to try to trigger anyone, but whatever, I'm in Massachusetts, so you probably know how I feel about our orangutan in charge. So just just one of those funny things that I wanted to pick up. There you go. One of my all-time favorite Brian Bowen covers, Zatanna Everyday Magic. I had been on the hunt for this in a high grade for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, and I finally ended up picking one up for, I think, like maybe $4. Couldn't believe it. I would say this would be like near mint condition, but it does have a little bit of spine stress in the bottom right corner, so I'd say very fine plus plus. But look at that. That is just beautiful. And then to finish it off, another book that's been on my list for a while, Detective Comics, number 327, Carmine Infantino Goodness. And this is the first appearance of the quote-unquote new look Batman. This is where Carmine Infantino streamlined the look of Batman in the Silver Age, and that was the look that was essentially the look of Batman from when I started reading Batman comics in the 1980s. So basically, this is where the little yellow oval is added to his bat symbol in the middle of his chest plate. So really cool. I ended up picking this up for maybe like, I don't know, I believe it was like either $40 or $50. I don't know. But as a Batman fan, definitely wanted that piece of Bat history. So that's all I have for this week. I will see you all in a couple of weeks with a comic books collection spotlight about something. And yeah, so thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing as always, and enjoy the rest of the weekend out there. Okay? Take it easy. See ya.